After Isaias, why the Horn of Africa is entering a dangerous new phase. What happens when a man who ruled for 3 decades refuses to slow down at 18? Hey everyone, you're watching Analytica today. I'm Deborah. What if the most unpredictable leader in the Horn of Africa is becoming even more active? This isn't just about Eritrea. It's about Ethiopia, Sudan, and the fragile balance of the entire region. For years, analysts spoke of a post-Isaias Eritrea, a fresh start, a reset. But President Isaias Afwerki just turned 80, and instead of fading, he appears emboldened. And here's what the facts show. Eritrea is no longer isolated and restrained. It's projecting power again. Today, we're breaking down how we got here, why 2018 peace collapsed, and what this means for you, especially if you are living in Ethiopia or the wider Horn. How did we get here? Isaias has ruled Eritrea since independence in 1993. Before that, he led the rebel movement that defeated Ethiopia's military. His organization thrived on secrecy and strict discipline. After independence, disputes rarely ended in dialogue. They ended in gunfire. Eritrean troop clashed with Sudan, Djibouti, Yemen. Then came the devastating 1998 till 2000 war with Ethiopia. Tens of thousands died. At home, the sun was crashed. Senior officials known as the G15 were jailed after calling for reform. Eritrea became a closed state. Then things escalated further. In 2009, the United Nations imposed sanctions after a report that Eritrea supported armed groups in Somalia, including Al-Shabaab. An arms embargo followed. Eritrea was isolated, but isolation did not equal surrender. In a state of direct war, Asmara turned to proxies. Opposition movements were hosted and trained. Influence was projected quietly. This was grazed on politics, not open war. No peace either. The 2018 turning point and its collapse. Then came 2018. Ethiopia's new Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed reached out. A peace agreement was signed in Jeddah, hosted by Saudi Arabia, attended by regional and global leaders. It was celebrated as a breakthrough. Borders would normalize, non-interference would follow, joint committees would manage disputes. For the first time in a decade, the Horn felt hopeful. Families crossed or opened borders, flights resumed. There was real emotion, but here's the thing. The mechanism meant to enforce the peace never fully functioned. Borders quietly reclosed, port access stalled, joint committees faded. The agreement became symbolic, not operational. And then came 2020, when war broke out between Ethiopia's federal government and the TPLF in Tigray. Eritrean forces intervened. Reports from the human rights group and United Nations investigator accused Eritrean troops of war crimes and ethnically targeted violence. This was the emotional low. Entire communities were devastated. The scars remain. After Tigray tension between Addis Ababa and Asmara resurfaced, the rapprochement had collapsed. A new phase, deterrence collapse. What we are seeing now is not sudden. It's the delayed consequence of a failed strategy. After 2018, Ethiopia chose restraint, diplomacy, process, ambiguity. The assumption was simple. If both sides prefer stability, grace on action can be managed. But ambiguity did not stabilize the relationship. It protected the challenger. Small action accumulated, interference, proxy activity, strategic testing. Each incident seemed manageable. Together, they changed the balance. Restraint began to look like weakness, and deterrence, the idea that actions have consequences, eroded. This is what analysts call an asymmetric deterrence collapse. It means one side tolerates cost, other wouldn't. Isolation is not a trait. Sanctions are survivable. Eritrea's system is highly centralized. Public pressure rarely changes policy. Traditional deterrence tools, reputational damage, diplomatic pressure, and lost force. So what happens next? Ethiopia has shifted to formal correspondence, documenting grievance, building procedural legitimacy. This isn't symbolic, it's preparatory. It signals a possible move from restraint to balancing. And in a region already dealing with Sudan's civil war, Gulf competition, and internal security crisis, that shift could reshape the Horn. Here the uncomfortable truth. As Isaias 8, he appeared more interventionist, not less. The idea of a quiet transition is fading. Instead, the Horn may face a leader who sets a permissive global order and feels freer than before. This isn't about personalities alone, it's about structure. When agreements fail, when mechanisms do not function, when gray-zone tactics face no cause, stability erodes slowly. Then suddenly, for young Africans watching this, especially in Ethiopia and Eritrea, the stakes are personal. Economic opportunity depends on stability. Regional integration depends on trust. So the question now is simple. Will the Horn rebuild enforceable rules or slide back into managed hostility? What do you think? Is decisive rebalancing necessarily, or is there still space for diplomacy? Let's talk in the comment. And if you want clear, serious breakdown of the Horn geopolitics, subscribe because this story is far from over.